In this video, we're going to be going over a special type of three blank or triple blank text completion. And this is one that I've seen a few times, or at least a few times that ETS has used it. And what they're doing is they're playing on our assumptions. The idea that, oh, as soon as we see one thing, we relate something to it. For example, there's a text completion in the ETS book that talks about speeding. And speeding as in driving a car really, really fast. So right away we think, oh, speeding obviously is something that is bad. It's negative. And so we are drawn to words that are negative. In the end, the answer to that question is speeding is a cherished tradition. That's something very positive. It turns out in that sentence that people in the city live very far apart from one another, so they have to drive over long distances. So it all makes sense. And that's what they're going to do. They're not going to give you something where you read it, such as public officials recently announced plans to blank noise pollution. Oh, I hate noise pollution. We all hate noise pollution. Anyone would hate noise pollution. Therefore, they've announced plans to get rid of, and scrap is the best word. That's not how you do this. That's going to get you trapped. Therefore, don't rely on what you consider to be common sense or what's most likely in the real world. You have to look for the clues in the sentence. We have to look for the actual word here that is based on the clues. So we want to not be drawn in by scrap here, or that. We want to say, well, what's going on in this part, in the parts of the downtown? We read on. Aside from citing the usual cost of enforcing ordinances, this isn't good for the city. It actually has to enforce ordinances, and enforcing those ordinances is costing it a lot of money. So if it says, okay, we got to cut down on noise pollution, and then they realize, wow, this is not a good thing because there's a lot of costs involved in dealing with noise pollution. So public officials recently have announced plans to allow noise pollution instead of paying these high costs. So they're saying, hey, there are high costs involved in enforcing ordinances, so we're simply going to allow noise pollution. Therefore, the city also referenced reports indicating that residents had become blanked to or by the hubbub. Hubbub is noise, background noise constantly going on. And therefore, well, the city is trying to justify the noise pollution downtown. And they're saying, well, you know what? Because we don't want to pay the money, let's also bring up another good point here. In general, residents have gotten used to the hubbub. And then this is finding is no way blanked by the dearth of media coverage on the issue. So dearth means lack of. So the media isn't really even covering it. It's not a big deal, this noise pollution. Therefore, this finding here that residents have gotten used to the noise pollution anyway is a finding that is in no way challenged or weakened. Because basically the dearth of media coverage shows it's not a big deal. So again, I'm using the old tricks in the book now. This really isn't too much new under the text completion sun here, because we've really gone through most of the main strategies in one blank text completion. So really speaking, again, we're just looking for clues, putting in our own words. And let's start here with the first blank. We know it has to be allow. Curb means to lessen. Again, they're allowing it. We want a word that means to get used to. Enraged is very angry. Flustered is, I'm sort of losing my composure here. That's not the same as getting used to something. That word is inured. To become accustomed to something negative is inured. And then we want a word that means to challenge or weaken, to go against, and that word is undermined. And just like that, we get our three answers. Again, we don't jump into the sentence. We don't make assumptions about what it must be. We always base our answer to the blank based on the clues in the text completion.